and I think Monica's got some.
Sure. So I'll just pull out put some dates out there that I've brought up in the beginning of the meeting. So June 12th, we'll have our workshop summary and our executive summary, that we send that 30-page document that you could hand to your neighbor to read. Maybe more of a leisure reading. But no, all kidding aside, our synthesized document that we're really looking forward to with those take-home messages, kind of the first half of Thursday morning. We would like your comments back on the workshop, on the technical supplements that we presented, any feedback that you have for us. We're going to give you till the 26th of June, so that's a really long period of time. That might allow for some of these internal BLM discussions if you have any that you want to have happen before that time, but regardless, we're willing to have feedback between any of the presenters or send it to me or Eliza, and we'll be able to.
We're actually going to have a comment process that Eliza can mention briefly.
Okay, great. Do you want to mention it now?
Can Meg, this is Shelley. I was just wondering on that. I don't know if it was agreed, but we were going to ask if we could send our comments through Eliza to consolidate again. I don't know if she has already or if she would agree to do that. But I was wondering, can we just send in comments that we have in addition to the ones that we've made at this meeting and ask that the Heritage Program just somebody review the notes from the meeting? Because there was a lot that came up throughout. I don't if it was being transcribed or notes were being taken at a level that could.
Yes. We have two things going on. We've actually recorded both of the days, so we could actually go back and listen to the recordings, or for those that missed it. And then we also have notes. We have somebody that's been transcribing our meeting as well.
Who should get credit?
Yeah.
Seriously behind us.
Yeah, I take that.
And to answer Shelley's question, Eliza, could you please talk about the comment process?
Yeah, we'll be collecting comments in the same day that we would do with an IDT team with NEPA, where we have like kind of a Word document with a table, and we'll put that somewhere both for the Central Yukon and Anchorage field office on a shared drive so we can all add our comments. Or if you just want to email them to me, I can add them into that document.
What about the comments that were made during the meeting? Can we get whoever was transcribing to get those sort of distilled out of the notes and onto the table so we don't have to remember what we said or go back?
So those will all be incorporated in our those will be something that we will review when we're looking at feedback from the meeting itself. Each individual PI will use that, so I don't know if you need to look at it again or formally write that up, but we will have the notes and we will take that into consideration, and we always highlight all the active or action items, I guess, from the meetings as part of those notes.
Let me clarify. Shelley, are you asking to see those specific notes to make sure that they got?
Yeah, I guess so. And then if we could make the date for when we need the comments to Eliza to be after we can look at the notes, then we could just.
Right. Yep. So the 12th is when the notes will come out, and you have 10 days after that to get your comments to us on the 26th.
Okay.
But there'll be a date or a little bit earlier than that to get all the comments to Eliza, so she has an opportunity to kind of mush them together a little bit. But that will come out, I think, with Eliza. Eliza will send out an email with kind of the template we'd like the comments in, so we have some consistency from person to person with this table, and also kind of a deadline to get the comments back to her by.
Okay.
So it'll still be well after that June 12th date.
But here's, like when I've hired transcribers at the Western Arctic Caribou Herd meeting, it's cheaper. There's more pages, but it's cheaper to just have somebody just literally type every word that's said, because they can go into autopilot and just type along to the transcript. But for a little bit more money or a little bit more work, you can actually ask them, more like a court or, a different level of transcription where they're actually listening and summarizing. And you end up with less pages, but it takes a little bit more time because they have to synthesize as they type. And I guess that's what I'm wondering is, could the comments, so to speak, or that you're asking or for us to pass through Eliza be synthesized out of the notes into some format?
Eliza's not going to do that.
No,
And
Eliza's not, but,
And wait, Shelley, can I, hang on one second?
Yep.
And we don't have a professional here taking notes. What we have is a member of the Heritage Program taking notes, which I'm sure are excellent notes.
right, but then they recorded them too, right?
But are probably not gonna be what you're describing. So, I do believe that if we wanna make sure that every comment that people had in this room was captured, people are gonna have to look at those notes that come out June 12th and make sure their comments were captured and captured correctly, and if they weren't, you're gonna have to provide a comment to Eliza to include in the table.
Or say somebody to transcribe.
Gotcha, I just thought since they were recording, that might be something we could, there were a lot of them, but that's fine.
We don't have funds to do that as part of our project.
That's fine.
Okay.
So just kind of looking forward from there, we'll be posting all of, the final materials on our actual website, and we're maybe gonna be having some conversations about, hosting it on an additional public website like Day2, and that's kind of been discussed here. But at some point, it also should be hosted on the NOC, so there would be kind of an ArcGIS platform where people could actually, select different layers from these assessments, or sort by a particular CE and pull up all the data related to it, or search on a management question, and you can pull up the data related to that and kind of associated files and text. So it should be a pretty user-friendly way to look at all the data, in addition to kind of the bigger report itself. We also, like Scott mentioned, there's going to be this REA training workshop, I think in September. That's not a particular RIA that they're emphasizing, although the SMK data is the only data up, so that's, I guess, where the emphasis will be, but that's kind of training on how to use a RIA. And then we also have in our contract some meetings with the BLM to kind of talk about the utility of the data, and hopefully there'll be a conversation amongst BLM before we would have that meeting. And that's kind of future, look at 6 months maybe after the time we actually deliver our final product. And then, just to kind of remind those, everybody's aware, but we have the 2 other concurrent REAs, and then we're trying to help inform the RMP effort for the Central Yukon. So we really are trying to kind of make our products better. We're trying to work with the BLM, especially with the RMP, kind of just to try to make our products as seamless as we can, and make that utility as easy as possible. And then, just kind of thinking in the long term, we've had the opportunity to work on the AIM project for the pilot for NPRA, just thinking about the inventory and monitoring aspects, and, we're hoping, again, if there was a pot of money that would end up being transferred from doing these RIAs to actually monitoring. It doesn't have to be Heritage Program centric here, but I think it seems like a really great opportunity to kind of set up some of this monitoring platform that, eventually leads into management decisions. But I'm really excited and encouraged that that's kind of the next step for taking the REAs and then moving it into that monitoring or maybe even data gathering. But so just to kind of keep that in perspective, this is our first step, and we're kind of proud of our products that we hope they're or similarly used by the BLM. So yeah, and I don't know, Jamie, I guess you have a few minutes to conclude, or the AMT chair, Karen.
I don't necessarily want to conclude, but Travis, are you still on?
I am, yes.
So in the September training, I don't know where the YKL data will be in terms of its availability, but I really think that to the extent that as part of that training we can use some of the YKL data and talk about some of the products that are YKL, not just Stewart 10, that would be incredibly helpful, because we're really doing more YKL-esque things for all the forward-going RIAs. In Stewart 10 we did some different things. So to the extent in that September training that we can incorporate YKL, I think it would be really valuable to us.
It would work really
Sounds
well
great.
timing-wise. complies with what we have going on with the Bering Sea Western Interior RMP as well, right before we get into alternative development, so I also really would.
No pressure on you, Travis.
No, I mean, if that's what you guys want, we try to do what people want. We sometimes try and change what you want so that we get to do what we want.
Good luck with it.
But no, I mean, to the extent that we can, if the data is there and available, which I assume it will be by then, and maybe even now, yeah, why not, if that's what you want to see.
That doesn't mean we want to totally ignore Seward Pen, don't get me wrong, but, I think it's important to look at the YKL stuff too.
This is Jeannie Cole in Fairbanks, and I was wondering, do you have a date for that training? And also, who is the target for people to attend the training? Because some of this YKL area covers the Central Yukon RMP, and we have some other RMP-related training scheduled this fall. And a lot of people are gone in September because it's moose hunting season, so it'd be good to know the dates and who the target audience is for the training as soon as possible.
Did you say moose hunting? Do you think that could possibly coincide with my trip up there? Let's see. It's September.
Perfect time.
Right now we've got it in Anchorage, September 24th, 25th, 26th, and then in Fairbanks, 29th, 30th, and October 1st. But it's a long way out, so we can probably jockey that.
And the audience is the IB teams, is that right? That's the audience, right? It's the resource specialist.
And GIS.
Well, the audience is whomever you guys think would be best to attend the training. We'd started out thinking this would be like a train the trainers kind of workshop, but it hasn't really worked out that way. We end up training and training and training. So, but that's fine. So whoever the field offices and district offices think would be the most beneficial to be there. We do ask that it be at least some mixture of GIS specialists and resource specialists. And we even let managers come too sometimes.
And just to let you know, I haven't talked with Travis about this recently, but the training really needs to have computer capability. You need to be at a laptop or a desktop, and we will be working on trying to determine what the best location for that will be, both in Fairbanks and in Anchorage.
Like
so
in Anchorage,
if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. I mean, we have a computer training facility in Anchorage, but I don't know, there may be 8 or 10 computers in there.
There's at least that many. I think there might be more, and I think there might be space to bring laptops in.
And there might be ability to do others. So just to let you guys know, especially in Fairbanks, we're looking for a location. And I've addressed this earlier because we did plan to have it this spring. It didn't work out, but I kind of had a couple places that we were looking at, but any other suggestions would be helpful.
The AFS training room is a good option, Scott. Probably our most likely option.
Alaska Fire.
Okay, great, thank you.
And I think there might be up to like 20 computers in that computer.
No, there's 13 computers in the AFS room, 1 for the instructor and 12 students.
Everybody on laptops.
I don't know if that training is already, this is Shelley, if the training's already sort of thought out as far as how they would do it, but if we could either interject some period of time into the training for sort of like, I guess I'm lobbying for it to be focused on the RMP so that we can figure out how to make it as usable or how many different ways we can use it and actually kind of problem solve and brainstorm ideas, not necessarily know, you know what I mean, like the instructors should know a lot and be able to teach a lot about that is already available, but then have some sort of a facilitated, kind of to address the problem we were talking about before. how are we going to use this, or how is it going to manifest itself through the alternatives in the RMP.
Shelley's going to turn it into a week-long training.
I don't know. Or, I mean, I know we said we were going to have a separate meeting to do that, but the most logical place for it to help us right now is in these RMPs, and so it's almost, I'm feeling like maybe I can talk to Jeannie about it, but if that guy who's going to facilitate the alternative thing, maybe if he could come or help us, maybe he could see a way that it could be clearly, different aspects of it that could be clearly usable in our RMP.
Yeah, day 3 of the training focuses almost exclusively on use for BLM decisions, and most of the decisions that something like this has any use for are in the RMP process. We designed it as best we could that way from the beginning, and that's what we try and come back and teach in the end is, how did it work out? And we start with anywhere from just getting your basic inventory stuff together all the way through the RMP and NEPA process.
This is Tracy, and I know we have like 2 minutes to kind of wrap things up, but picking up we have 2 more REAs on the docket. To have a presentation from BLM on how these RMPs are put together, what type of information you use in them, so that while we're developing our product for the REA, we can figure out the utility of the price we're building for the REA and how they could be applied towards the RMPs, because I really have no idea on what an RMP entails.
Well, and it sounds as if maybe the best way to do that is for some of the Heritage Program folks to sit in on that day 3 training.
Or to have an hour, overview.
Well, that might be a different, effort in that training. It would be how to use an REA to inform an RMP, but we will kind of want it a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it'll be interesting because it varies widely. Because this is the BLM and we have local solutions to national processes, so you can't look from one RMP to the other and see the same, for instance, level of decision-making. Mm-hmm. In theory, they are regional scale, but very often we have extremely local decision-making going on, even though it's an RMP level document. And it really completely depends on the individual interests of the local communities that you're working in. So we can give you that overview.
Like an overview of the process would be nice.
And we can definitely do that. But I think there's also the reality of how we actually do it versus the methodology that we're supposed to apply. And those are 2 fairly different things.
So I think there's just a disconnect right now, just that my understanding of the application.
Yep.
I read a number of them trying to get a link into what exactly type of information you need, and they did vary quite a bit. There were, were some overlapping data sets, but, there was quite a bit of variation. I was hoping right at the beginning you'd list everything you need, all the data sets you need, and but it wasn't that way.
Okay, the last person on the agenda is Jamie to say a few things, but then I'm going to actually turn it to Karen to close it.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to thank everyone. It's been a long process, but a rapid process at the same time. It's been a lot of work leading up to this, and I think it's truly been a collaborative effort. I mean, we're in a collaborative agreement, and so it's good. I encourage that collaboration to continue through the end of the project, so that we make sure that this final document truly represents, what you guys need to the extent possible. Given all these good discussions about data availability and limitations and everything, help us craft it so that this becomes the most possible useful document and suite of products out there in the next month or so. But also, since we are lucky to be the cooperative agreement for the future REAs, really keep a mind to the future too. I mean, this was. I'm sure Travis would speak to this. All REAs are a big learning process. But we've got some momentum now, and we've got some good lessons learned, and so I hope we can continue that throughout at the statewide level through all the other REAs. So I want to thank everybody for the participation. It's a huge amount of work. We realize it. We're pretty proud of the products, and we hope you guys will find some good utility out of it. And we look forward to your comments in any way, shape, or form they come to us in the next month. And we look forward to continued dialogue.
Thank you. Karen,
Yeah, I just want to say, thanks to everybody who came, all the Heritage, program people and their partners, and all the effort you guys put in, and all the, Central Yukon and Anchorage and Fish and Wildlife people who managed to hang on the phone for a day and a half.
Thank you.
It was really great, and, you know, despite some of the discussions we've been having about the limitations of the radio over the last few minutes, I do think this is a massive step forward from where we were at the end of the Seward Pen, where, you know, I don't think there was anything we were particularly happy about related to that. Yeah, I think this, reflects a lot of good.
This is Shelley. I just wanted to thank you guys, too, for the products and the presentation and the discussion over the last, couple of days. And even though, it sometimes, it is frustrating, or we are frustrated, I think we'll turn it in a constructive way, and I'm glad we've got a lot of expertise in the room here, and so I'm glad that we've got the people we've got working on it. I'm kind of looking forward to some of the follow-up discussions, actually. So, thanks.
And I think you guys are just...
I'll add my thanks on behalf of the SNAP team here. I was glad to be able to be there in person yesterday and listen in today, so thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Nancy.
All right, bye, you guys. Have a good day.